Revelator John.
Hello, welcome to Revelator John. What is ground effect? So ground effect applies to an aircraft, whether a fixed wing or a helicopter, when they are flown closer to the surface. So within the region of 10 to 15 feet, really depends on the size of the aircraft. So for a fixed wing, for example, when the aircraft is flown close to the surface, for example, if flying down a runway, then due to the close proximity to the surface, the wingtip vortices are reduced. The downwash from the trailing edge of the wings itself are reduced. The net result is that the induced flow, the flow over the wing, is slightly reduced, and the efficiency of the wing is improved because the wingtip vortices aren't as big. The net result is that there's less induced drag, more lift for a given power setting. So therefore you can float on the air for a lower power setting. For the same power setting you could fly faster, or for the same power setting that will generate extra lift, so you'd be able to climb away from a given surface. Now this may be of benefit, for example, when operating at higher temperatures, higher altitudes, lower air pressures, or heavier aircraft all at weights. You can make the full benefit of ground effects. Now for a helicopter, similar kind of situation where when the helicopter is flying, hovering close to the surface, the helicopter can benefit from this ground effect in very relatively calm wind conditions, up to 10-15 knots, 20 knots, for example. What happens is, as the air is processed through the disc, and we have airflow through the disc, which we call the induced flow, that is the airflow created by the rotation of the blades. As the downwash comes into contact with the surface, there is a kind of air compressibility, if you will, and the net result is that the whole flow of air is reduced somewhat. So the induced flow reduces, and that leads to a reduction in induced drag, but an increase in overall lift. So overall lift increases for a given power setting. So therefore one can hover the helicopter closer to the surface with a lower power setting, or for the same power setting is able to hover with greater weight, or in hotter temperatures, in lower air pressures, lower air densities, the helicopter can hover for the same power setting. If the surface becomes malleable, changeable, then the benefit of ground effect is reduced, in that this air compressibility, this induced flow, does not occur as much, and therefore there won't be as much ground effect. So if, for example, operating over water, operating over long grass, that kind of thing, will reduce the benefit of any ground effect. As soon as the aircraft starts to move, helicopter starts to move beyond 15-20 knots, 25 knots, then whilst there is a certain benefit of ground effect, it's very negligible, because the downwash is falling behind the helicopter, and then there's reduced compressibility and reduced in effect back towards the induced flow. Thereafter there is no benefit at all. So a fixed wing can fly at a certain speed close to the surface, and it's because of the reduction of wingtip vortices primarily, which is increasing the increased lift, a reduction in induced drag. As a helicopter, helicopters have to be hovering close to the surface and having that induced flow through the disc and the air compressibility below the disc that creates that increase in lift. Thank you.